Hello, everybody. This is Scott Hudspeth with Agent Mastermind. Welcome to the call. So excited to have you guys here after a long weekend. Hope everybody had some time with their family and a great Memorial Day weekend. So I have, man, I'm super stoked. Michael Hellickson is on the call with us. Guys, get this. So he is known as the first to break the 1,000 closed loan mark ever. He has a ton of expansion teams. He does all the stuff behind the scenes. He does leads, all the stuff after you get the sale. He coaches, get this, here's the best part, Mike, is he coaches 60 of the top 200 in the country. So, Mike, you got some awesome stuff planned for us today. I can't wait to hear what you got. Awesome to have you on class, and I appreciate you being here after a long weekend, man.
Hey, my pleasure, and I appreciate you having me on. I know you guys have a waiting list, a very, very long waiting list of people that would love to be on your show, so thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet, man, you bet. So what do you got for us today, man? I mean, there's so much that we could talk about. What did you choose today for our group? Being what you've done and where you've been, man, you could literally probably talk for days with your experience. What do you got for us today?
We could talk about all kinds of different topics, but today what we chose, was why 87% of the real estate agents fail in the business in the first 5 years. And the reason I chose this topic was because, right now everything's easy. I mean, we've never seen an easier market to make money than right now, at least in the last 12 years. I mean, this is a phenomenal time to make a great living in real estate. Here's the problem. Most agents don't realize that the change is coming. At some point in time, we will see a shift in the market. And if they don't learn some things that we're going to be talking about today, guess what? They won't make it past that shift. The vast majority of agents will literally be removed from the industry when that shift happens. So really, I just want to chat a little bit about some of the reasons why. And here's the reality. First and foremost, every agent's got, and everybody, whether they're an agent or a loan officer or whatever, everybody's got to earn a living, right? We got to make enough to support our bills. So what I would challenge everybody that's listening to this or watching this to do is, first and foremost, sit down and begin with the end in mind. Understand, what is my nut every month? How much money do I have to make every single month to pay all my bills, business and personal combined? And then write that down in this little box right here. Then, what is my outside income? Do I have any money coming in from outside of either real estate or mortgage? Then I need to figure out how much money do I need from real estate to support my lifestyle. So I'll give you an example of this in just a second. My average commission earned, what is that? So for example, I hope you guys are writing this down, but I'll give you an example. Let's say my nut is $3,000, right? If my nut is $3,000 and I've got zero income coming from outside, which a lot of agents don't even have any income coming from outside, then I'm going to have to make $3,000 a month in commissions just to make my nut. Now you got to remember to back out taxes and all that kind of stuff. So if my nut's $3,000, right, and I've got all of it coming from real estate, so there's $3,000, I really probably need to make more like $4,000 a month so that I can pay taxes and still have enough left over to pay my bills. So what do I need to get in number of closings to get that $4,000 a month that it's going to take to pay my bills? Most people in real estate have never even gone through this exercise, or they just cavalierly say, oh, well, if I sell 1 or 2 houses a month, I'll be in great shape. But they really don't understand what they have to, no matter what, sell every single month, or they're going to be in a world of hurt. So,
or they have the hope strategy. I hope that I get a deal, or I hope that I get this, or hope that I get that. Call them hope.
That's right.
It's a drug we don't want to depend on.
You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely. Well, so the next thing that we always tell people to think about is, are you on a team or not on a team? And if you're not on a team, you really ought to consider either being on a team or creating a team. Here's why. Right now, teams are taking over the real estate industry. The days of the Lone Ranger are coming to an end, and you're seeing that more and more and more teams are coming into markets, like teams like ours, right? We have expansion teams, what we call expansion teams, all over the country. And so we're literally going around to different markets throughout the country. I can go into a market and let's say that I contact lead sources in that market, and they all tell me, oh, well, we're sold out in your market. We've got a waiting list, whatever. I can roll in there and I can say, hey, wait a minute, I've got, $750,000 that I spent with you last year. something tells me you can help me out on this waiting list. And all of a sudden they come back and say, oh, look, something just opened up, right? And so now I can get the very best lead sources in every market. Why? Because I've got that kind of spending power, and because all these companies knows that we're good for the money, that we'll stick with them long term, and that we know how to convert their leads. So anyway, being on a team is a big deal, and we really recommend people do that. So
why do and nobody's asking this question, but why do people get so stuck on, I got to be the one to do everything because I want to make the most amount of money? And where you and I, like before the conversation, like I would rather have part of a watermelon instead of all of a grape. Why do we get caught up in that? Is it something that, like our old tapes when we grow up? What is that causes us to get stuck there?
I think it's poverty consciousness is part of it. I think another part of it is scarcity mentality. People really, they kind of hoard, right? They are worried about somebody else's success, and they get frustrated. Well, I'll give you a perfect example. In the real estate world, it's brokers, right? People don't ever want to pay their broker anything, and anytime their broker even asks for anything, they throw a fit. They don't want to pay for copies at the office. They don't want to pay for any kind of flyers, any kind of service at the office. They don't want to pay for anything. And anytime the broker makes money, the agents get frustrated. Well, here's the reality. You want your broker to make money. You need your broker to survive and be successful. Otherwise, you're going to be moving to a different brokerage, and you're going to have to buy all new signs and all new whatever, all new marketing, because now you've got to switch brokerages. So I love that analogy of, and Brian Curtis is the one that I first heard that from. Brian's one of my partners in our expansion teams, which is, do I want all of a grape or part of a watermelon? And I'd much rather have part of a watermelon.
All day.
Oh, absolutely. We can get a lot more accomplished, and now what really happens is people can do what they're best at. Instead of me trying to be the jack of all trades and do everything myself, I can literally be working with a team of people who, I've got a transaction coordinator that's what she's best at. I got a marketing director who's very, the best at that. I've got buyer's agents who are the best at being buyer's agents. I got listing agents that are ninjas on listing appointments, but I've got my team that are amazing at the thing that they do, and everybody does just what they're best at. This is a big deal, and what happens is when you accomplish that, for example, our team in Seattle, we were literally doing over 100 transactions a month with 12 agents. That's impressive. That's really good. Well, how are we able to do that? We were able to do that because everybody focused on their thing. What's that?
No, it's like, that's more than impressive. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, but you can't do that if you're trying to do everything yourself. And not only that, let's talk about time off. I don't know, can you see that board behind me there? It says, no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. That's our core mantra here at Club Wealth. And Club Wealth, for those of you that don't know, is our coaching company where we just coach agents. We teach them how to do all this. But that's our philosophy at Club Wealth, is that no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. If you don't have a team around you helping you to do all these things, guess what? It's all you all the time, and you're going to suffer. Something's got to give, and usually it's our families, and that's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. No. Can't buy more time, man. Can't buy more time.
Absolutely. All right, so then if I'm on a team, one of the things I've got to factor in is, okay, I'm probably splitting at some level with my team. Generally speaking, let's just use 50-50 as an example. So if I'm on a team and I need that $3,000 I really need, and I'm at $3,000 a transaction, I'm really going to need 3 transactions if I'm at 3,000 transactions, or 2 if I'm at 4,000 per month to pay my bills. So anyway, what I'm really saying here is I want you guys to understand your numbers, go through and track exactly what is it going to take and what is my bare minimum. No matter what, I got to hit these numbers or I'm going to go broke. And here's why. What we found is there's 2 things that motivate people. There's hope for gain and there's fear of loss. And believe it or not, fear of loss is a far more powerful motivator for most than hope for gain. So what I want you to think about is, if I don't do X, I'm going to go broke. So what is X? So we make sure that every single month, no matter what, we do X. Anyway, once you've got that figured out, you can figure out what my annual number is, and know this: if I'm on a team, I have a lot better chance of closing more transactions than if I'm not on a team. If for no other reason than they're going to provide you with a steady stream of leads. All right. So some of the problems.
So I got a question we got a big group here. So how many people on this call are actually provided leads where they work, or have a a lead source coming in provided to you, and then training on those lead sources. So just put yes or no in the box there. Just tell me yes or no if you do have leads coming in or provided to you on a regular basis. So it looks like some yes. Okay, cool. All right. But a lot more no's than yeses. Okay, cool. All right.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people, they say, oh, we're going to create a team and you're going to be on my team and we're a team, and they don't provide you with anything. It's like,
right. They just take half your money.
Yeah, it's like, well, what does this mean? I'm going to be on your team, right? If you're not going to provide me with leads and support and training and accountability and help when I need, and just, you know, if you're not going to make it possible for me to take all the stuff off of my plate that I'm not the world's greatest at and only deal with the things on my plate that I really am, then that's probably not the kind of team I want to be on. And so you got to really look at what does team mean. All right. So some of the problems are ADD, right? Agents, by and large, and look, I'm guilty of this. I've got ADD just like every other great agent out there, right? And so we've got to understand that there's all these shiny objects out there. And Scott, I'm sure you encounter this all the time, right? You see all these agents, and all they want to do is they want to go out and they want to buy this because it's the magic pill, or they want to go after that unicorn, or they, you know, whatever this new shiny object thing is, this platform, this lead source, whatever. All of a sudden they're spending money in all these places and nothing's getting done. So
well, the one thing I hear most is like, God, I'm so tired of people selling me stuff or trying to sell me stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you doing with what are you doing with what you're buying? You know, like, are you doing anything with it? Or you just like, you know how many people want to do video marketing and they buy a camera and it's still in the box in the nice little wrapper and they never even opened it up, but then they move down to something else. So yeah, it's definitely a vicious cycle with the ADD and the too many shiny objects. You got to turn that stuff off.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I mean, if I buy something, first make that work before I go to the next thing.
Absolutely.
And we tell people, you want a new lead source every 3 to 4 months, right? Ideally, you want to have 4 new lead sources per year, which is 1 every 3 months. If you'll do that and you'll spend those 3 months dialing that lead source in and then go buy the next one, guess what? You'll eventually have 12, 15, 16 lead sources that are consistently developing leads for you, and you'll have a nice full pipeline that now you can incubate and convert to appointments and later to transactions. So, all right.
Great idea. So every 90 days.
Every 90 days, that's exactly right. So, and tech is one of those things, right? You know, it's they think, oh, there's this new tech out there. I got to have, you know, Get Riley, or I got to have whatever the thing is, right? I got to have this thing. Yeah, a drone. I got to have a drone. I got to go buy my own drone, and what this new phone. Phones, I love it. You know, agents with phones, it cracks me up. You know, they go through a phone every 6 months because the new Samsung Galaxy S3000 just came out. I mean, whatever. Come on.
Clear my schedule. Hold on. Clear my schedule. The new Apple iPhone's out. I'm done for the day.
I know. It's like freaking go sell a house, right? I mean, come on. So, or scripts are the same thing, right? Everybody thinks, oh, it's about this script, and I got to run to that script, or, you know, oh, so-and-so's having success with this script, so I got to change and use that. You guys, it's not about shiny objects. Quit with that. Or gurus, you know, this is another one that cracks me up. All these gurus out there right now, and I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get Mike and Tom and Brian all mad at me, but you got all these gurus out there that are out there saying, you know, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, and they've never sold real estate at a high level. None of these guys has ever had a team. None of these guys has ever produced at a high level. In fact, most of them have never even sold real estate, and we're taking advice from them on how to go sell real estate. Are you kidding me? That I've never understood that. All right. And the other thing that we do as agents is we overestimate our short-term ability to succeed. People get in the business and they think, oh, I'm going to go start making 10 grand a month right away. I got news for you. That's not going to happen. The flip side of that is that they forget about their long-term ability to succeed is much greater than they think it is. I would suggest this. If I'm a brand new agent in business today, if you're on this webinar and you're just watching this and you're brand new in the business, go join a team. You're going to learn faster. You're going to learn more. You're going to get leads handed to you. You're going to make money. That's the fastest path to cash. You're going to get to cash faster than in any other way. So go join a team, cut your teeth there, and then later on decide if you want to go out on your own or not. I will suggest, though, that more often than not, you're better off on that team than you are on your own. And so, all right. Now, there's some more problems out there. Mindset and belief system deficiencies. Oh my gosh. Scott, I bet you encounter this all the time.
We were just talking about adversities, which comes into mindset, which comes into beliefs, which comes into the past, what your parents did, what your grandparents did. Like, I hear this all the time. Like, I don't think any of us feel worthy of any success, so we retreat back to what we know, which is comfortable. Like, oh my God, what do I do with the money? What do I do with the success? What do I do with all these deals? Like, it's really hard to understand because nobody understands it. It's so rare. I mean, if you're closing 3-4 transactions a month, aren't you like in the top 5% of the U.S. in real estate agents?
Actually,
right?
More like the top 1/2 of 1%.
Top 1/2. Yeah. Okay. So you're so rare. Like, who do you talk to, and who do you like? So that, I think, is a huge mindset issue for a lot of people.
Okay, so you just hit the nail on the head. And by the way, Scott and I didn't pre-plan this, but he absolutely hit the nail on the head just now. Who do you talk with when you're at that level? And
lonely.
It is. And here's the reality. You should only be talking, and I don't mean to snub your nose at people who do less than you. That's not what I'm saying at all. Please don't misunderstand. Help those people out. Encourage them. Be there for them. Share great stuff with them. But where do you go to get your bucket filled? You're out there filling everybody else's bucket. At some point in time, you got to fill your bucket. So how do you do that? You need to be talking to people that are doing more business than you are. You need to talk to people that have done more business than you have. You need to be coached by and masterminding with people that are operating at a higher level than you are. And keep this in mind. We are the sum of, or the average of, the 5 people we spend the most time with. And that's in all aspects of life, whether it's how you treat your family, whether it's how much money you make, how you feel politically, spiritually, whatever it is you do, you're going to become the socioeconomic average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So start hanging out with wealthier, smarter, better people, and guess what? You'll become a wealthier, smarter, better person. Pretty straightforward.
Absolutely. 100% true.
Oh,
different
absolutely.
Mindsets, different belief systems, it's totally, I highly recommend it. If that's all you do today, go find a different group. If you hang around, we always have talked about this, Mike, is if you hang around the person by the water cooler giving excuses, you will soon be that's just what happens. Like,
that's right. That's exactly right. All they want to talk about is, buyers are liars and sellers are worse. I got news for you. That's not true. The problem isn't the buyers and the sellers. The problem is the real estate agents. You guys, we're better than that. Be better than that. Here's another thing. Success demands work. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come for free. And you know what? Right now, it's coming easier than it ever has before. If you're not making money right now, you're really going to have problems when the market shifts. If you are making money right now, you need to be thinking about this. The market's going to shift, and am I prepared with my business? Have I created a recession-proof business? Nobody knows when the recession is going to come. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 4 years. Who knows when it's going to be? But at some point, mark my words, it will come. I promise you. I've been through 2 of them already. I'm about to go through another one. Here's what I want you to keep in mind. You need to work. Now, does that mean that you have to make cold calls and FSBOs and expireds every day? No, that's not what it means. In fact, for the last 15 years of my career, I didn't do any of that stuff. I moved from chasing business to attracting business, and that's what you guys need to learn how to do. But guess what? It's still going to take work. All right. So stop listening to negative people. This is a huge part of mindset. There is more negativity out there than positive things. I literally, it's terrible. I mean, look, if you just go look at the news, right? I mean, it's crazy. So here's the thing. How do I do this in my life? Well, for me, I went to the extreme. I had a period of time in my life where my parents, this is when I was brand new in this business, I was working 100-hour weeks. I was literally sleeping under my desk at the office 3 days a week, and this was before I worked from home. This was not a good lifestyle, right? Well, my parents naturally were concerned about me, and they felt that they were doing right by me and giving me great advice when they said, hey, Michael, you should consider getting a job at McDonald's because you'd be making more money. And I told him, I said, well, hold on, I'm the #1 agent in my office, right? This is my first year in the business. So I'm the #1 agent in my office, which essentially all that meant was I was less broke than the rest of the agents, which is pretty sad.
I love it. I love it.
It's true, right? I mean,
you don't know any better. Yeah, absolutely.
This industry cracks me up. We're the only industry on the planet that gives awards for being broke. Oh, look, I'm in the $1 million club. I'm like, wow, that must have been a nice condo. I mean, come on, really? I mean, seriously. It's like, whatever.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
But literally every time I would pick up the phone with one of my parents, I just got bombarded by negativity. And they didn't think they were being negative. They thought they were helping me. I get that, but that's what they know. But I literally had to take a step back, and I had to say, okay, Mom and Dad, I'm not going to talk to you for a while. I got to get my head straight. And I didn't speak to my parents. This is terrible. I'm embarrassed about this, but it's true. I literally didn't speak with my parents for 10 months because it was so negative all the time. And then I got my business in order, got my head straight, and then guess what? All of a sudden, my conversations with my parents were very, very different because now I was making more in a month than either of my parents had ever made in an entire year. Right, exactly. Yeah. All right, so that being said, affirmations is another one. You know, people love talking about how silly affirmations are. Oh, I'm not going to stand in front of a mirror and say, you know, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Right? I mean, it sounds stupid, right? I mean, I'm not saying go be Stuart Smalley, right? What I'm saying, though, is that you need to program your brain with positive things because positive or negative, you're programming your brain every day. So the question is, do you want the world to control what goes into your mind or do you want to control it? And here's what's really crazy. Scott, I bet you know this already, but did you know that your subconscious mind is far more powerful than your conscious mind? And interestingly, cannot tell the difference between reality and what you tell it to believe.
I know. I've said that all the time, and it's freaky. In fact, I take it a step further, and I go, all right, instead of saying I want this, I say I have this, even when you don't have it.
That's right.
And it's amazing how it just happens. I mean, so the subconscious does not know, and I think we feed our subconscious with bad information or bad thoughts or past thoughts or whatever that dictates our future, right?
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. We develop patterns, right? The neural pathways in our brain are like any other, you think about a computer, it gets used to going to a certain place for certain information. It's in your cache, if you will. And so these neural pathways in our brain, they establish connections and they take the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is that which we're most familiar with and that has embedded itself in our subconscious mind. So we have to change those neural pathways in our brain. Good news is we can do that. We can absolutely change those neural pathways to connect differently and to create and believe an alternate reality, a different reality than what we currently have. And Scott, you hit the nail on the head. We have to do our affirmations as if they've already happened. We always talk about it in terms of act as if. Act as if you're already there and speak as if you're already there. And guess what? Stuff happens. For example, long before I was the #1 real estate agent in the country, I told myself I was the #1 real estate in the country, and I acted as if I was the #1 real estate agent in the country. Here's another place you guys can use that. Maybe you'd like to be a better husband, wife, father, mother, whatever. You may not be that person today, but start telling yourself that you are and act as if. You want to treat your spouse better? Act as if you already treat your spouse better every day. So I'm gonna think about, okay, what does this guy that I think I am, how does he really treat his spouse? And then go do that, and you will become that guy. It's crazy. All right.
It's amazing.
And it works, right?
Yes.
All right. So we got to listen to positive things. Listen to good information. Stop listening to garbage. I don't listen to music 9 times out of 10. If I do, it's usually classical. Once in a while, I'll listen to something else, but very rarely. On the other hand, I do listen to other things. I'll listen to audiobooks or I'll read a lot of books, but we need to listen to and absorb positive information. Remember, whatever we can conceive and believe we can achieve. Napoleon Hill first said that years ago. But you got to think about this. If I can think about it in my mind, if I can conceive it, if I can picture it, and I truly believe I can accomplish it, only then can I achieve it. If I don't believe I can accomplish it, I'm not going to accomplish it. It's like Ford said, right? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So what do I need to do? First, I got to think, here's what I think I can do. And then I got to say, I believe I can actually do that. And then go do it, and it will work. All right.
And the opposite of that too is I think, whether you think you can or think you can't, like if you think you can't and you believe you can't, guess what? You will never achieve. So you got to be careful what your thoughts are. I hear so many people go, I could never do that. I can't do that. I mean, simple as I can't hit my 5-iron. I literally just changed my mindset. I'm like, dude, my 5-iron is the best club in my bag because I could never hit it. It's so insane. It's just crazy.
That's right.
I think he'd walk up and, like, it's just weird stuff. So
it was true, and all of a sudden you made that your best club in your bag. I mean, that's exactly what happens. Yeah. You know, now there's a flip side to this too, and that's what I call professional learners. So here's what I want you to be careful of. Don't be just a professional. I always learn, right? I invest, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in my education all the time. Probably $70,000 to $100,000 a year I invest in educating myself. That being said, I'm also a quiet implementer. What that means, write that down, quiet implementer. So what this means is I don't just talk about what I'm going to do. I don't just go learn stuff. I learn it and I figure out the one thing that I'm going to learn. For example, today, don't try and absorb all this. Figure out the one thing you're going to get out of this webinar right now that you will no matter what implement, and go implement that one thing, and that will change your world, and that will make our time together worthwhile. If you don't do this, if you just consistently are learning and not implementing, it's like rowing with one oar in the water and all you do is go around in circles. That's not okay. All right. Next thing is we spend way too much time getting ready to get ready. Oh my gosh. Agents are notorious for this. You know, they spend all this time dialing in their systems because they got to have the perfect system and yada yada. You know what? Forget all that. Go get in front of somebody that needs to sell a house. Fake it till you make it. Figure it out. You don't have to be perfect at this. You do have to take action. This industry favors people that take massive action now, not tomorrow, now. Perfect example is listing appointments. How many people go on a two-step listing appointment? This cracks me up. They think, oh, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to build rapport. I'm going to look at the house, and then I'm going to go back to my office and I'm going to do a listing I'm going to figure out a market analysis. Then I'll come back to their house and I'll list it. But that second appointment rarely ends up in a listing. Usually on that second appointment, you're previewing somebody else's listing that got it on their first appointment, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, you got to take action.
So there's a couple questions here, backing up just a little bit. How do you suggest making a team in an existing office? Have you ever?
That's great. That's all we do.
Well,
We never go open up an office to create a team. It's always done in an existing office. It doesn't have to be, but generally it is. And I'm brand agnostic. I don't care if it's Keller Williams, Remax, you know, HomeSmart, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Keller Anchor. It doesn't matter what company it is. You can do teams in virtually any company across the country. And yes, there are companies that are more team friendly than others. But the reality is, here's what it takes to form a team. First of all, got to know who the team leader is. Second, got to know what your structure is going to be. What are my commission splits going to be? Who's going to do what? Who, you know, what does my growth model look like? Am I going to be able to scale this at some point? How big do I want to get? Then you've got to identify who are the players on the team going to be. And you need to start recruiting those people to be a part of the team. And from there it gets crazy. But essentially that's the easy version of how do I start.
Looks like you've been classified as Captain America by one of your fans here, betting the Robson. so says, love you, Michael. So awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's cool.
All right. And what about this one? Here's one more, and we'll keep moving. I have found that when a team, they are choosy about who gets what. I have gotten all the garbage that no one else wants to in the past. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, I love that. That's a great one. So first of all, get good at converting the garbage. Right? So if you want the good stuff, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, but if you want the Glenn Gary leads, you have to prove that you can close the Glenn Ross leads, right? So I'll give you a perfect example. Scott, agents on this call all over the country have the ability to send you, transactions where you get to be the loan officer or your company gets to do the loans on these transactions. I would be willing to bet that you would love for every single person on this call to send you their next crappy deal so that you can prove yourself on their crappy deals. True or false?
Absolutely. True. 100% true.
That's right. Yeah. And if you take a crappy deal from me and you convert it, go ahead.
Not only would I take it and convert it, I would take it and build a relationship and, again, get referrals from their friends, family, and coworkers all day. All day. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So that's the message that I want that agent to get that just asks, well, my team's giving me the crappy stuff right now. Of course they're giving you the crappy stuff right now. You haven't proved yourself. Prove yourself on the crappy stuff and you'll start getting the good stuff. I'll give you an example. In our system, it's a meritocracy, right? You do really well on the $150,000, $250,000, $350,000 stuff, and we'll start giving you the $500,000, $700,000, $1 million stuff. But first, you got to prove yourself on the other stuff. I'm not going to take a risk on $1 million buyer or seller with an agent that has an unproven track record with me. No way I'm going to do that. But I'll give you some of the lower level leads first, and when you get good at those, all day long, if you've got a higher conversion ratio than the person next to you, I'm going to give you the better leads all day long.
Absolutely. Perfect.
All right, so here's the next step, you guys. I want you to think about this. Remember, quit getting ready to get ready and go out there, and here's the formula I want you to use. It's ready, fire, aim. Now, some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, that rubs me wrong. My OCD is going crazy. What do you mean ready, fire, aim? Shouldn't it be ready, aim, fire? No, it's ready, fire, aim. Write this down. Fail forward. Again, write that down. Fail forward. You're going to make mistakes. I tell my team all the time, I said, look, you guys are going to do things, you're going to make mistakes that are going to cost me money. It's okay. Go make those mistakes. I want you to cost me money because it means you're making decisions. And if you're not making decisions, we have a problem because I can't be the guy making all the decisions. I have to do everything I can to remove roadblocks from everybody on the team so that they're able to be successful. It's not my job to manage anybody. It's my job to lead and to help remove those roadblocks so that you can be the very best you can at what you do. That's leadership. That's very different than management. So what we need to do is we need to empower our teams to be decision maker. Everybody on the teams has decisions that they can and should be making. Empower them to do it, and everybody makes more money. All right, so here we go. Number one reason why agents fail.
I actually have a little bit different one. Mine is shoot, fire, aim.
There you go. There you go. I love it. That's awesome. So check it out. The number one reason why agents fail. This is it right here. You guys ready for this? Bad habits and or lack of good habits. You know, here's the reality. If we create good habits, habits that will force us to succeed, and then we develop those habits in ourselves, right? So we say, okay, I'm going to create this schedule. I'm going to follow this, and if I just do this, I will succeed. And then we develop the habit of doing that on a daily basis. Success is an inevitable conclusion. Here's the thing. In life, you can choose the action or you can choose the consequence, but you can't choose both. So which is it going to be? Right? I can say, I'm going to put my hand on that hot stove, but I can't decide whether or not I get burned. Or I can say, I'm not going to get burned, so therefore I don't get to put my hand on the hot stove. All right, here's what cracks me up. Agents show up at the office. Guess when? Whenever. I mean, what do you think? Scott, what time do you think most agents are showing up in their office? What's, as a loan professional, I want to know, what, you know, lending professional? Yeah.
Yeah, so we coach them to like have sale time from 9 to 11, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. depending on your time zone. So so they can actually make the calls, do the stuff that like, people are up, people are at work, people are out and about. Any earlier than that, you're kind of invading on the privacy of their time. But that's just our world.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. A lot of real estate agents aren't showing up, and this may or may not come as a surprise to you. But as we've gone through and we've dug into what agents are actually doing, and we've done surveys on agents, what we find is that many are showing up between 10 o'clock and noon, and that's if they show up at all that day. This blows me, and they wonder why they're broke. I mean, hello, treat it like a business. You know, agents, every agent out there, or I should say most agents out there would tell you, oh, I have a business. No, you don't. Most agents are entrepreneurs. How do you know? Because when I leave on vacation for 2 weeks or even, let's say, 2 months, if I come back and I have less business than when I left, that means I'm an entrepreneur. If I leave on vacation for 2 months, I come back and I have more business than when I left, that means I'm a business owner. Big difference.
There you go. Love that.
Oh, so part of it is you got to show up at the office. And here's the thing. When they show up, a lot of them find every excuse on the planet not to actually work. You got to stop doing that, you guys. You know, literally get to the office, pick up the phone, make a phone call. Again, I'm not saying you got to call FSBOs and expireds or cold calls, but you got to call somebody. This is a voice-to-voice and face-to-face business, and that's what it takes, or you're not going to make money in this business. And ask yourself, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Scott.
So one of the things I've never said on this call is Mike, we've been doing this thing for 5 years now. Every Tuesday, 12 o'clock. I think we started on Mondays, now we're on Tuesdays. And I tested the invites, like when are people opting in? When are people opting in? When are people opting in? And so I did Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Guess what the number one opt-in rate was for this class?
I'm guessing Tuesdays at what time did we start? 8 a.m. Pacific. 9 a.m. Pacific.
Tuesday morning, and I'm like, okay, why? Then I go, why Tuesday mornings? And I'm like, because they don't have anything on their schedule. So they're like, oh crap, man, I guess I'll go to the webinar at noon because I got nothing on my schedule. So I'll just go learn. So it was a creative avoidance to get on the webinar, but where if they would have planned at 9 to 12, I'm going to sell. 12, I'm going to jump on and learn something, maybe how to sell better. And then plan my day out. So, like, man, you have to put it on your calendar, and we call it the $1 million hour, $1 million time, whatever. Like, that's when you have to spend your time doing something productive that's going to get you more business. So
that's right.
Time is everything.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, we're going to get into the perfect daily schedule in just a moment here. I'm going to share that with everybody. But, you know, I mean, you got to ask yourself this. If I had a boss, would they give me a raise or fire me? I mean, really, think about that.
Great question.
You know,
Great question.
Well, I got into real estate because I wanted freedom. Well, hey, you are absolutely free to be broke. It's okay. You know, you're free to be rich too. You choose, right? But I'll tell you, the ones that are rich, you ask, if I looked at every agent across the country that does more than 400 transactions a year, guess what they're going to say? Well, I show up at the office by 7:30 in the morning or 8:30 in the morning at the very latest. Now, maybe you don't want to be producing at that level. That's fine. But if you want to consistently produce an income at a high level, you're going to need to show up on time every day. So the other question to ask is, would I hire me? Yeah, I don't know. Based on your, what you're currently doing, would you hire you? I don't know. Busy work is not the same as dollar productive work. You guys, we got to get focused on dollar productive work. If it doesn't lead directly to a listing or a sale, I don't do it. It's that simple. I'll tell you, when most agents show up in the office, they become firemen and firewomen, right? What do? They come into the office and, oh my gosh, I got an email and this person's freaking out. This seller's upset about, they didn't like their flyers, or they're upset because the marketing online wasn't right, or whatever. And so now you run around all over town putting out fires. That's not a business. That's everybody else controlling you. Listen, this thing right here, this cell phone right here, that's for my convenience, not for everybody else's. That's one of the challenges that agents have, is they think, oh, I got to check my email and my text message. I got to be on top of this stuff 24/7. No, you don't. You need to take control of your schedule. Now, do I need to be on top of my leads quickly? Yes, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I'll give you an example on a perfect daily schedule. With most agents, they start off at, let's say they're going to show up at 7:30, for example, and maybe you're only going to show up at 8:30, 9:30, whatever. But they start off thinking, okay, I'm going to follow this linear path to the finish line on my day. And what it really looks like, let's see if this will let me draw on here. We'll just do pen here. What it really looks like is they start here, and they come in and they get a little distracted, they come back to focus, they get a little distracted, come back to focus. Then all of a sudden they get an email from an upset seller, and, oh my gosh, look at this, I'm way over here, I'm freaking out, and then they come back to here. And then it's all through the day, it's this, right? They get all distracted, and at some point they come throughout their day. Here's the key. You've got to have this plan here along the gut of your day. You really have to know, what is my plan along the gut of my day, and can I follow that plan? And to the extent that I can follow that plan, guess what will happen? I will have greater success. Let's see if I can erase this now. Erase all drawings. There we go. If I can follow that plan, guess what will happen? I'll make a ton more money. Now, are you going to be perfect at following that plan? No. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get distracted. You're going to have things come up. I get that, but you have to keep coming back to center. Very, very important. Oops, I'm still drawing.
You just drew the road to success, man, right there when you did the little squiggly lines.
Yeah. That is the road to success, right? Exactly. That's exactly right. Let's make sure that got erased. All right, we're going to go to non-drawing mode here. Okay, there we go. So that being said, one of the things I want you to do is I want everybody on the call to go to clubwealth.com/PDS. clubwealth.com/PDS. That's PDS as in perfect daily schedule. Now that web page, what it's going to do, there's a blog, right? It's got about an hour-long video of me explaining exactly what you have to do for your perfect daily schedule. What schedule should I follow every single day? What activities should I do every single day to virtually guarantee that I make at least $150,000 to $250,000 a year in this business, whether I'm on a team or as the Lone Ranger? If all you do is go download the free checklist on that page along with the free examples of perfect daily schedules, you will get massive value out of it. But watch the video too. I promise that'll help. All right.
Beautiful, man. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, you guys will find, go bump around on our website. One of the things that you'll find is that we have a ton of great videos on there and free downloads for, I'm a big checklist guy, right? I really believe that if I just have checklists for every single thing in my business, and if I just follow those checklists, success will follow. It's really not complicated, but I got to follow the checklist. So what do? We don't charge you for those checklists. We give them away for free. Why? Because it's not rocket science. Just go in there, follow the checklist, make money, and then when you want real one-on-one coaching, let us know. Do a strategy session with us. We'll help you out. All right. Beautiful. So here we go. Let's make it simple. 90%. Here's what your day needs to be. 90% of your day needs to be the following three things. Number one is lead generation. You have to lead generate on a daily basis. No matter what, if you're not lead generating on a daily basis, you're going out of business. Now, again, it doesn't have to be chasing business like FSBOs, expireds, cold calls, that sort of thing. You could be attracting business. There's lots of ways to do that, and we talk about that on our blog. But lead generation is number one. Number two is lead follow-up. Lead follow-up is massive, and this is the place that most people drop the ball. Scott, is it the same in your business? Do you find that in most loan officers out there are dropping the ball on lead follow-up?
If you Google follow-up percentages, there's 4 parts to a sale. One of them is follow-up. Hardly anybody I know has a follow-up system, programmed, whatever, in place. So what we've done, and I talked to you a little bit about this, is we've hired people to just do follow-up. That's it. Just follow up. So if you're not going to do it comes back to the ADD. We love to thrill of the chase. Once we have it, we know okay, this we get another one instead of follow up with the ones that we already know, like and trust that know, like and trust us to get more business from it. So we just hired that part out.
It's like the dog chasing the car, right? Once it catches the car, it has no idea what to do with it.
What do I do?
I know, I'm the same way.
Analogy. Yeah.
Well, so here's the deal. Lead follow-up is mission critical, and I would tell you that, and I believe that we've got this on another slide, so I'll share it then, but this is how you need to follow up with leads. It used to be that we could call a lead back in the first day and we'd be okay. Then it was, if I call them back in an hour, I'm okay. And then the Harvard Business Review came out with a study that said, nope, your follow-up percentages, your connection percentages drop by 900% if you wait 10 minutes or longer. So you have to follow up with your leads in the first 5 minutes. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not accurate today. I will tell you that if it's an online lead, you get an online lead today, you literally have 30 seconds to follow up with that lead. If you don't follow up with that lead in the first 30 seconds, it's gone. Bye-bye. Might as well burn your money. You absolutely have to do this. And I'll tell you, we tested this in California on one of our teams down there. ISA, our inside sales agent there, was calling on these leads, and he would literally hit send on his phone before he'd even look the lead up. So he knew he was on the phone with them in the first 30 seconds every time. And they would literally get 5 phone calls from other agents during that first 5 minutes. So what he started doing is he'd keep them on the phone for 5 minutes, so all those other agents would go to voicemail. How cool is that?
Cool, very cool. Creative, yeah. That's right.
Now, tenacity of follow-up is another place that people drop the ball a lot, right? And by the way, write this down. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. It really is. So check it out. Here's what you need to do in terms of tenacity. I want you to call your leads 3 times a day for the first 3 days, 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks, and 3 times a month for the next 3 months. Again, it's 3 times a day for the first 3 days, 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks, 3 times a month for the next 3 months. That sounds like a lot of follow-up because it is. And you know what? When I was listing and selling over 100 homes a month, guess what I did every day? I didn't make any lead generation calls. I had other people doing all that. All I did was make follow-up calls. I did 115 to 125 follow-up calls per day in between my 6 to 8 listing appointments, and I would go out and I'd list about 93% of those. But lead follow-up, that's a huge part of this. So then the third thing that you have to do in your 90% of your day is lead conversion. So lead generation, lead follow-up, lead conversion. If 90% of your day consists of those 3 things and all the other BS garbage, designing flyers and working on your brand and all this other garbage that gets in our way, if we could just get rid of that and spend 90% of our time here, you will make a ton more money, I promise you.
I always say with what you just covered, there's no competition because there's no competition in generation, follow-up, and conversion. There's if you follow up like you did 333, there's nobody doing that. Nobody on a consistent basis, persistent basis. They may do it once and go, didn't work. You know,
and that's, I know.
Like the first day, 3 times, like, oh, man, Michael, you told me to do it, and I did it. Like, how long did you do it? I did it the one day. Like, nothing. I got nothing, Michael.
Dude,
you know,
that's the same guy. I could send that guy to a fish farm with the best bait in business and say, go sit here, and he doesn't catch a fish his first time at the fish farm.
At the fish farm.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, seriously.
Well, I threw my hook out once, nothing bit it, so I'm done.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah.
Killing me. Welcome to my conversations with agents almost every day. I love it. All right. So lead generation, sphere of influence is usually about 61% of most agents' business. And by the way, I want to be cognizant of time. Do we have just a couple minutes before we go to questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to make sure we leave time for folks to ask some questions. But essentially, you've got your sphere of influence. 61% of the average agent's business comes from their sphere of influence. Here's what you need to know about your sphere. You want to make more money on your sphere? Start doing literally 4 client events per year. They don't have to be expensive. You could do like Christy Lundy did one. And I'm not a drinker. I don't drink, but she decided to do a happy hour. All right, cool. She spent $250. She got 5 transactions out of the 40 people that showed up. And what's interesting is 4 out of the 5 transactions, the people didn't even show up to the client event. How did she do it? She went to our blog, I kid you not, went to the clubwealth.com blog and scrolled down. She found the client events blog. It's called Client Appreciation Events. She followed the checklist in the blog. One of the checklist items is to call everybody and invite them. When she called everybody in her sphere, she would get answers like this. Wow, Christy, it's great that you called me. We were just thinking about selling our home. And what's interesting is she wasn't doing the cheesy, my Irish accent sucks, so, forgive me, but, don't try and cue up your best Irish accent and say something like, oh, by the way, if you were thinking of buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? I mean, listen, if you called me up and said that every single time you called, I'm going to start thinking all you see me as is a dollar sign. Yeah, it's not. I mean, just you got to be selfless, not self-serving. Become a servant instead of a salesperson. And anyway, obviously calls, notes. Some people will do pop buys. If I'm in tier 1, so if I have more time than money, I might consider doing pop buys, but I would not recommend pop buys if I'm in tier 2 or higher because it's too time consuming and there's other ways to attract business rather than chasing business. Social media is huge. One of the things you guys need to do is you need to go through and you need to friend every single one of your clients on Facebook. No matter what, right now, friend every one of your past clients, sphere of influence, friend them on Facebook. And before you say, oh, but Michael, my business and my personal are separate, understand this. I know, did that crack you up when people say that? It's like, but I hear it all the time.
I don't have a Facebook. I don't want my personal life to get out there.
Well, you are totally entitled to privacy in your personal life and being broke. It's okay. You can have both, and you probably will. So
I'm going to swipe that. Okay. Yeah, it's okay to be broke. It's okay. It's okay.
Dude, I mean, seriously, it's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? I mean, you can pick one. You can't have both, right? Pick one.
I love it.
So anyway, you got to be posting frequently on social media. Remember, on your personal page, it's 80% personal and 20% business. Your business page is all business, and the only reason your business page even exists is so you can run ads. That's all it's there for. Nothing else matters on your business page.
Yep.
Obviously, groups are huge. If you guys don't already belong, write this down. Go join the Club Wealth Real Estate Agent Mastermind Group. So all you got to do is search for Club Wealth and then click on the little button that says groups when it just, in terms of who you're going to search in because you want to find the Club Wealth group. Go join that group. I'll tell you this, there's a lot of great free information in there and a lot of really, really smart people sharing ideas in that group. Doesn't cost you anything, just go belong to it. Craigslist, this is another one. We've got agents that are getting literally as many as 5 to 15 buyer leads a day on Craigslist. Don't knock it till you try it.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? A day.
Crazy, dude. Crazy.
Yep. People think it doesn't work anymore, but guess what? Craigslist actually works really, really well right now, but don't have a VA do it because if your VA in another part of the world is trying to post to Craigslist for you, they're going to get ghosted and your ads aren't going to show up anyway. This is a technique that's been working for many years for us, and to this day we have clients right now, including our expansion teams, we're getting 5 to 15 buyer leads a day from it. Another one, this one here, clubwealth.l2leads.com, and this probably should be the last thing I share. We're getting out of time here. Clubwealth.l2leads.com is a great tool for people that are newer in the business. $25 a month. It's listings to leads. It's our discount link into listings to leads. Instead of paying $40, you get to pay $25 a month, so we get a really good discount. and it does so much stuff for you. I recommend it to everybody in Tier 1. It's a great product. Mega open houses, we don't have time to talk about that today, but go to our website and we'll show you. You look for the massive, it's actually called Massive Open Houses on our website. It's on the blog, and we'll show you how we're getting consistently 50 to 150 people out to each open house. It doesn't cost a bunch of money. It's very affordable to do, and literally, I mean, think about this. I mean, Ewan Graham, one of our guys in Denver, his very first open house he did following our formula, the checklist right there. You can download it for free. The very first open house he did, he got 86 people out to the open house, did 5 transactions from it. That was 3 buyers and 2 sellers out of 1 open house. Not bad.
Wow, crazy.
So there we go. All right.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So on the right-hand side, there's a little chat button. I put in the link to clubwealth.com/perfect daily schedule, which is PDS, clubwealth.com/PDS. Club Wealth group, I also posted in the chat box, facebook.com/groups, and a bunch of numbers. Click on that to join the group. Great group. And dude, Michael, tons and tons, dude, amazing, dude, like all this stuff. And I'm swiping a couple of your words there, like it's okay to be broke. I love that. So you and I have, I think, more in common than we really know, but I appreciate you being on. Anybody have any other questions? Let me just see what we got here. So, can you repeat, go ahead. Did you have something else?
Oh, I was just say, while we're waiting for some more questions to come in, I see we've got several hundred people on the call still. And I want to share the #1 seller lead source on the planet. I have a feeling that there are some people that would benefit. If you're looking for sellers, this is a lead source that we use every single day in every single market we're in, and it is bar none the best. And I love these guys. I've used them for many, many years, and it's leadslikecandy.com. Leadslikecandy.com,
Okay.
and that's our affiliate link into a company that we get a discount, obviously, through these guys. But if you want to be in this business long term, you're going to have to learn to list, or you're going to have to be on a team where somebody else is doing all the listing. But the phrase is true. You got to list to last in real estate, and this is bar none the single best resource for getting listings that are pretty easy to get once you get face to face with them. So anyway, let's go to questions.
All right, cool. So what is MMM? It says expired, FSBO, and MMM.
MMM is Make Me Move, Zillow Make Me Move. And I know, it's funny, if I could have everybody raise their hand, I'd say, how many of you love Zillow? And like 2 hands would go up. If I said, how many of you love to hate Zillow? Like every hand would go up.
All right.
Here's the reality, man. I can ride the wave or I can get crushed by it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Make Me Move leads are great leads. These are people that have said, I'm interested in selling my house. You should be calling them. Not only that, with Make Me Moves and the For Sale by Owners on Zillow, you can use those to develop your own off-market property lists, so that when you're talking to people on the phone, let's say you're talking to a buyer, instead of saying, oh, hey, can I go show you that house and a few more, why don't you say, hey, would you be interested in some of the off-market properties that we have that we could also show you? Oh, well, yeah, I'd be very interested in some of the off-market properties you have. Everybody wants what's exclusive to them and what other people can't have.
There you go. All right, so getting a ton of questions in, what's the best lead source? So you've given a bunch, but like everybody wants to know what's the best lead source.
If I could choose only one lead source on the planet, it would be leadslikecandy.com.
Leadslikecandy.com.
Leadslikecandy.com. Now, that being said, that's paid lead sources. The reality is the very best lead source is your sphere of influence. Now, I don't want 61% of your business to come from your sphere of influence. In fact, I tell people, if more than 50% of your business is coming from your sphere of influence, it probably means you suck at marketing, right? So we need to learn to get business in other ways too, but I want you to get a lot of transactions out of that sphere of influence. So we want to increase the number of transactions while decreasing it as a percentage of your overall business. So for example, only about 12% of my business was from my sphere of influence, but that equated to 192 to 196 transactions a year. So it was a lot of transactions. It was just a small percentage of my overall business.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, can you do the 3, 3, and 3 again?
Let's see if that's on the
3 the first week and 3 the first month.
Yeah, let me see if that's on our next slide. By the way, I don't know if you guys see this at the bottom. There's all kinds of referral-based lead source providers too. We can get you a list of that as well. That's available in our blog as well. So referral-based lead source providers are ones where you get leads from them and you only pay them if and when it closes. So you can go to clubwealth.com/blog and get that. So there it is, lead follow-up. So it's land, air, and sea. By the way, we didn't talk about that, but here's your follow-up schedule.
There it is.
3 times a day for the first 3 days, 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks, and 3 times a month for the next 3 months. Now, on this slide, something else I want you to know that's very important. We always take a land, air, and sea approach. That means I'm going to call, text, video text, and email every single lead. Now, here's what's interesting. I will tell you that video text alone will increase your conversion rates by 50%. It's very important that you integrate video text into what you're doing, and how you do it is important too. Like right now, you can probably tell it's daylight outside where I'm at. That's not good when you're recording your video text. You want to be in a room with no natural light, because regardless of whether the lead comes in early in the morning, midday, or late at night, you want to be able to send that same video text to them, and they can't tell when you recorded it. So,
there you go. Great idea.
yeah, video text is huge.
Man. Video text is huge. It's just.
Yep.
All right, dude. I think let's see. Best website to use for creating one.
Best website to use for creating one. Wow. Well, that's a loaded question. You can reach out to my buddy Seth over at Playster. You can get a free website. It depends on where you're at in your business. I mean, if I just need a clean website and I don't have any money right now, I'll just go to Playster and just set one up there. It's free. They just worked out a deal there. You can also they've got a $5 option. They've got other options as well. There's great resources there at Playster. Now, the next thing that I will do is when I can step up a little bit in a website, I want to have something like a Commissions Inc. or a YLOPO or one of those platforms. And I don't have the links handy, but we do have affiliate links to each of those where we can get you discounts on those as well. But we love those. Those are a much more robust platform. It gives you a website. They do lead generation for you, so they'll do pay-per-click, Google advertising, Bing, Facebook advertising. They'll drive people to your website, and then they convert those leads into that traffic into leads, and then they incubate those leads. And they do drip email, drip text, all that kind of stuff. You also are calling them. It acts kind of as like a CRM, but really more of a lead incubation CRM. And then when those leads come to fruition, you can set appointments with them, and away you go. So there's a lot more to that question than just what's the best place to set up a website. But understand you need one. So.
2 more questions. What are your thoughts about Zillow's new instant offer and how Zillow will affect agents?
I can't believe it took this long for somebody to ask me that question. Seriously, like this is the hot topic right now, right?
I know, right?
So what do I think of the instant offer platform? Well, here's the thing. First of all, it's not in every market. It's only in a couple markets right now, so it's probably not going to impact you and your market anyway, at least not for the time being. That being said, when it does come into your market, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, unless we get the industry as a whole, unless, the big 5, the 5 biggest real estate franchises across the country and or MLSs start saying, okay, we're not going to share our data with Zillow, and then the reality is they're here to stay. So do I think those will be good lead sources? Yeah, I think they'll probably be good lead sources, because what they're going to do is, they're sending that out to 9 investors, and I think Zillow's one of them, if not all 9 of them. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, if they're going to send these out to these investors to make an instant offer on it, but they're also sending it to a real estate agent for a CMA, so that you can provide a market analysis for them. So here's the reality. I would love that lead. Why would I love that lead? Because these investors aren't going to pay what I know I can sell their house for. So I'm going to get in there. I'm going to go sell their house. So I think they could be a good lead source. Do I love the direction that Zillow is headed here? And do I believe them when they say that they're not trying to get real estate agents out of the picture? Not as much.
Not as much. Yeah. All right, last one. What is the best way for a new agent in a small brokerage to win the listing with no big numbers under their belt? So that's a mindset thing. Fake it till you make it?
Oh, no, well, yes. I mean, there's a piece of that, the fake it till you make it. I would also say play to your strengths, right? If I'm the Lone Ranger agent and I'm competing against a big team, what's my strength, right? The big team, I would say to the seller, you know, you don't know who you're going to be working with, but with me, you always know who you're going to be working with. You know, I'm going to be Johnny on the spot. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to serve you like no other. Whereas with a big team, you don't know from day to day who you're supposed to be contacting for what. Now, that's not how it works on our teams. We're a little bit more dialed in than that. But as the Lone Ranger agent, I definitely want to make sure I'm playing to my strengths, and service is the one thing that you as the Lone Ranger agent can provide better than anybody else. You might not have the experience, but you can definitely overserve them.
Awesome. Michael, dude, you rock, man. Unbelievable. Love to have you back someday, man. You're just amazing. If you're not following Michael, find him. Go to clubwealth.com. Opt into anything he has and everything he has. Join all his groups. Follow him. He's an amazing guy. Runs an amazing coaching platform, and I don't know, man, if it was me and I couldn't some way, shape, or form put a team together, he might be the phone call that I make if I was going to jump into real estate or try to put myself into a team. He might just know somebody. So just saying, I don't know if he does, but I'm just saying. So Michael, thanks so much, bro. I appreciate you, and honored to be a part of your life, man, and thanks for taking time out of your day to share with us some really good stuff.
My pleasure. The feeling is absolutely mutual, Scott. I'm honored to have been on the show today. I can't thank you enough for providing this opportunity for me and for everybody on the call. So thank you very, very much.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Thanks, guys. Same time, same place next Tuesday right here on Agent Mastermind. If you haven't joined our group, it's facebook.com/groups/Agent Mastermind. I'm sure Michael will be there. I'm going to make sure he is in the group. So if you guys have any questions later on, go there, ask some questions, and you can play a part of that or one of his team members. So appreciate you, brother, and look forward to talking to you soon, man.
Right on.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.